Hello all, welcome to and welcome back to my page and channel. So this video is going to be another general update on my collection. I wish I had some blooms to show you all, but unfortunately it seems that the plants, orchids included, are all on a bounce back. As many of you know, I just relocated here to Las Vegas, Nevada over the summer of this year from Washington, D.C., and boy, was it a change. In my last videos, I did touch on how the environmental factors have played a crucial part and role in the growth of my orchids. The water being harder. Although I live in the desert, I have a strict north-facing window with very minimal sunlight, especially here in the wintertime, which is why my collection is here in the Growspace. My humidity is basically zero, and with the humidifiers, I barely maintain 40%. And as I just mentioned, my lights, those, excuse the horn in the background, those are on for 12 hours during this season. Before, I used to switch them on down to 10, moving into the winter time. But because the temperatures aren't dropping, but I still have the light, I do not expect a winter rest for many of the orchids that you would normally expect that from, or any of the plants in general. A lot of plants tend to slow down during the winter, cooler, low/less light seasons, and I just don't have that here in the desert. It's the middle of November and my home temperatures, it's not the middle of November, it's November 1st, and my home temperatures are still near the 80s, just closing the door without turning on any external factors, that being my AC unit. Now, to jump in, again, I did mention that it's November 1st, and here in Vegas, it's actually just starting to get cooler. So what I normally know to be the seasons in August and September back in DC are now just arriving for October and November here across the country. The trees are just starting to turn yellow. The temperature at night drops so drastically as soon as the sun goes down beyond the mountains. And I thought that would, start my phals and other plants spiking, but none of them have started spiking, and the cool weather has been here for a good month now. So I am assuming that they're just on a growth tip and a bounce back. So I'm just taking it easy and allowing my plants to grow in their leaves and roots and just become better established in this place, and maybe hope for blooms sometime at the end of this year or possibly just next year. Most of my collection, to go ahead and move into, is still orchids. I still have my Paphiopedilums, my Phalaenopsis, my one Psychopsis, and a few others such as a Vandicostylis, I believe that's still the name of it, a Catasetum, a few Cattleyas, and an Oncidium. Again, nothing has really bloomed. I did have one or two, possibly three orchids that did bloom since the move, two Paphs and a Phal. They all have dropped their blooms, and the one Phal that is still in bloom is at my job right now. She's a Phal from Norman's. I believe it's a Violacea times pulchra. Finchi Kunriawati would be the name formally for that orchid. And again, it sits on my desk, and I do enjoy the fragrant that starts up at about 1 or 2 in the afternoon, which is pretty interesting given my office has no windows. So the body clock of the orchid must be still going, which is pretty cool to me because I didn't think that it would be able to have any scent without any sunlight, or having an idea what time it was, as most of our novelty phals and species phals that offer a fragrance offer it during a certain time of day, which is midday, sometime around the afternoon or the few hours after or before that. Moving along, the collection is moving very slow, so I wish I did have a bit more to show you. But moving on to the houseplants, because I don't really talk about them much. I did start my plant journey with orchids, and now here in Vegas, I have quite a few houseplants. And one that I did want to touch on that's my favorite right now is my prayer plant. I believe it's called a Maranta, maybe red or something like that, but it is a prayer plant. Beautiful, beautiful leaves. And the most interesting thing about it is on my off days, if it's very, very quiet in the house, you can hear these leaves moving. So prayer plants, as the day is winding down, will lift their leaves, which is also a spectacular show because the underside of this Maranta is completely red. So in the morning when I wake up, the leaves are completely down and you can see the green with the crazy patterns that these leaves have, from the dark green to light green with the red stripings. Very, very intriguing looking plant. And then in the evening time, it raises its leaves. I'll try to find some videos of the raised leaves or a picture to throw in here, but I don't know if I have that. And while we're on the topic of leaves, although I don't have any blooms, I thought I'd show you some of the modeling on the paths. I know I show these off a lot, but since the orchids are all growing, I figure why not let everyone be part of the show and part of the video. So here are just a few paths. I'm not gonna give any of the names, but I will say the paths that you see on the screen are mainly hybrids. Lots of them are primary hybrids, which means that they only have 2 species in the background. However, I do have a few that are, bred over time with a lot of species in the background. But the main reason that I love paths, as you can see here, are these leaves. And the modeling is just something that can catch your eye and is nice to have around the house to look at when you don't have anything in bloom. And we do, let's see here, have a couple of phals as well. I do have my Schilleriana and a couple of hybrids, such as the Bronze Maiden, that have beautiful modeling on the leaves as well, and much bigger leaves in the path. So the show on these is a bit more showier, so to say. I don't know what word to use, but the plants are all doing well. I'm glad if you sat through this update. I'm gonna go ahead and just wrap it up now because I don't have too much to show, but I didn't want to go too long again without a simple update. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop the handle on my Instagram page as well. I also use the same handle on my Facebook. I've just gotten into posting reels, which are pretty fun, and maybe I'll go into a bit more of what YouTube has to offer, but I am having a lot of fun on my Instagram right now with the reels and all the feedback that I'm getting from that. So check out my Instagram page. Give me some suggestions on what you'd like to see next. I would like to start back on my orchid spotlights, but I do want to wait till I have a little more showy growths and blooms, and something either going very, very right with a plant or something going very, very wrong to talk about. But until then, I will see you all in the next video. Enjoy your day. It's my weekend. I'm gonna go further relax with a glass of wine and my dog. Have a good one, everyone.